I'll lead it off. Let me just ask you. Joe was talking about the similarities in this regional and the one a couple years ago, 2 3 years ago down at South Carolina. Obviously playing a Colonial team at an SEC site. Do you kind of feel that a little bit that it's a similar situation?
Yeah, and a lot of it was so much you'd want to say, I hope it's deja vu in the beginning, right? And beating a really strong team, Hofstra, and now we're going to be facing JMU. Both of them just strong opponents. So it's going to be a good challenge. But it's exciting to, we've trained this whole season. We've gotten them ready, and now it's showtime.
This team has had a penchant for playing tight games, one-run games, and um, maybe speak to what that says just about this group and maybe about their level of mental toughness too.
Well, it's something I've always preached, which is it's not over till it's over. One of the most amazing games I've ever played in. It was a perfect game for the other team, and in the bottom of the seventh inning, we came back to win from a perfect game. And it taught me at a young age the game's not over till it's over. So I share that with the team quite a bit. Not the game necessarily. I think I've shared it maybe once, but they know it's not over till it's over. And I think that mindset, they believe it. And we are, I tell you, this team, you can label them the comeback kids because truly there have been a lot of games that we have come back to win. Tie and go even extra innings versus Virginia Tech, Missouri St. Louis, how BB Blake Gibson hit a home run to win when we were behind by one, a 2-run home run. I can think of so many of them, but you're right.
Hey, when you said about fixing your schedule in the preseason, obviously I know you schedule aggressively in the non-conference. You want to play as many Power Fives as you can. Is that all, I'm guessing, with an eye towards a situation like this in an NCAA tournament? There's nothing that this group really hasn't seen this year and in years past, too.
That's true. I mean, facing Oklahoma, ranked number one at the time, we faced UCLA almost every year. We have not this year. Even last year in the COVID year, we did. You look at Alabama, LSU was unexpected. There was a tournament, two opponents couldn't make it because of COVID, and LSU stepped in, which was awesome. To play Tennessee, I think of what teams we might play postseason, and sure enough, we drew one of them, and getting past regionals will draw others. We faced Missouri in the COVID year last year. So, I'm just excited because one thing through the years I've seen is when you get to big games, players make it bigger than what it should be. You have to play within yourself, right? You have to play your own game. But sometimes you're overwhelmed with just the ambiance, of where you might be, and that can't happen. And as a coach, my job is to prepare them so that doesn't. So if we lose because another team is better, so be it. But I don't want to compete not at our full potential because we're overwhelmed with the situation and we're making the opponent bigger than who they really are, which is our opponent. So really, you play the ball, being one with the ball. That's what it's about. And I'm excited to see our team, show up.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, you guys haven't faced James Madison much recently, but I was talking to their coach this morning, and you guys have to, you'll be in tournaments together down in Clearwater, playing really tough competition, and then you'll be out west or Midwest somewhere. You guys will be playing tough competition and really priming yourselves for this type of environment. And is that what you're going to expect out of a James Madison team that, albeit had to play more of a regional schedule this year, but still has the type of players and experience that they aren't going to be faced by this situation?
Oh yeah, they've been there. They've been there a lot. Lauren is amazing as a coach, and I think we respect their team quite a bit. In fact, they were going to come to one of our tournaments this year, but because of COVID, they weren't able to. And so for us, we plan on playing the best, and JMU is one of those. And unfortunately, we didn't meet in the beginning of the season, but fortunately, we will be meeting here in regionals, and it's well deserved on their end. Excited to face their amazing athletes, and I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch.
When you've scouted this team since finding out you're playing them Sunday night, what sticks out about you about the Dukes?
Well, there's a confidence that is going to come from their success. in the Colonial, conference. When you win a conference, obviously that you have that, you have this 24 game winning streak. You're taking that momentum into postseason. For us, we looked at Kennesaw State, who also is in a regional, and we had to play them 8 times this year. So I was really proud of our capturing the ASUN championship title in the tournament because of that challenge we had, right? Facing a team 8 times. So I think we both have different momentums heading into it. I think the key is just going to be who is going to be able to, be more relaxed and still stay aggressive and play their game. And as you guys, I've told you before, it. Postseason, it all is about who gets the calls, who gets the breaks, what kids step up, to the plate and in the circle, who makes it happen.
Coach, you talked just a little bit about how special this group of young ladies are. They talked a lot about you and the impact you've had on them, but talk a little about the impact they've had on you, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm very proud. I am very proud of, I've just given it to the Lord. And when it comes to recruiting, I just believe that every student athlete that comes to me, they've come to me for a purpose, right? And the same with our staff. We have servant hearts, and that means we're here to serve them, to help them be the best they can be, both on and off the field. And it's not just words. We look at it as love God first, right? Family, academics, and then comes the sport, right? And then I put friends behind that, right? Because, as student athletes. But I'm just so proud because of just what amazing women they are, and how they have grown closer to Christ and how they are more bold in their relationship to stand firm on their faith and to share it and to be able to use the gifts God's given them at the highest platform. When you think of, 2018 at regionals and beating South Carolina, being 3 wins away from the World Series, right? Can we go farther this year, which would be phenomenal because they're deserving of it. I get a little emotional, when I think about just how the Lord brought me to view the twins, and that moment. And I shared it with them in their senior night. I was just going to look at another recruit and some coaches recognized me. I told them about Liberty University and how I'm head coaching and they said, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "Superstars." I said, "I'm looking for those players that not only help to win a World Series, but will be interviewed after winning a College World Series." And they told me about Autumn and Amber. And when I looked and I saw them, I said, "I want them." And just that. When you look at Emily Sweat, right? And just how reserved she is and that big smile and what does her talking is, with the big stick, just the same with Madison Vi, quiet. But I looked at Madison Vi. We had a camp here as our first one, and I wondered who would show up. We had 155 kids that showed up. Of all of those kids, I looked, and there was Madison Vi, and she reminded me of Natasha Watley. And I always thought that she needs to get to that level where she knows how amazing she is. And this year, she's not only tasted it, she's living it, and she's playing with more confidence. So it warms my heart to know that the Lord chose us to be able to impact their lives. And I hope and pray it's been in positive ways, but they have touched me in far ways they've just shown how powerful the Lord is. And their futures look so bright, you guys. I mean, Vi as well as Sweat can go on for a COVID year. They had another year, but they're pursuing physical therapy. They have a career in front of them. Autumn and Amber, their futures look so bright. I know that Autumn would like to continue professionally in the game. Amber has, found her husband here and, they're moving on in their life together. And so, it's a family and it's an extended family. And I'm not a mother. I said, "Lord, you sure you know what you're doing?" Having me as, coaching an orthopedic surgeon and, just, he knows what he's doing. And I have all these young girls that I feel like they're, part of their family. You're welcome. They all have their own story, you know? It's amazing.
Coach, just describe the feelings taking a team to the NCAA tournament as a coach compared to when you played in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, you've played in the big stage in the Olympics. What are those emotions like for you?
Eric, good to see you.
See it.
It is far easier to be a player. You know, I look back at my career and over 40 plus years in the game, and I tell you, you never really know how good you got it, right? Until you're on the other end. You know, just the administrative side, you know, the responsibility side. As a player, you're just free to compete. You know, when you're coaching, you know, you have all of this responsibility, and, you know, the lives of these young women it's so sensitive. They're so sensitive, you know, right now at just where they are with COVID and dealing with the world and where the world is at. And to be solid for them, I think is huge. You know, writing a lineup, my goal, the ultimate goal, is to be able to just be there and just relax and watch them play with freedom, you know. But I have a huge respect for those coaches I've had in the past. You know, the excitement, it's so funny because I get all the butterflies. I told them as well, you know, like, you know, I've got the butterflies and I'm excited. But as a coach, I can't do it for them, right? And so at least as a player, you have an outlet to let it go. But I think it really eased them too to know that, you know, with what I have accomplished in the game or been around for so long, that you're never going to stop having those butterflies, right? You're not going to stop having that excitement. And I hope that they look at me and find a sense of just belief in themselves. I believe in every single one of them. I have their backs. I know they have mine. The biggest thing is I want to be that rock for them, to give them that freedom to just really go for it and walk off the field, win or lose, knowing they gave it everything they have. That's the sign of a champion, no matter what the score.
The experience from South Carolina Regional, what did you learn from that experience that you could take to this regional and help you?
Well, there are certain strategies, you know, that you take and learn from as coaches. But the biggest thing is this: in order to win, a lot of things have to go right. But the biggest is you have to have production in your lineup. At least, you know, you have your uppers, and you have to have, if you don't have the middle, you have to have your lowers. So if we can get 2 or 3 hitters that are hitting bottom in the lineup, we will win. We'll win. So, I mean, that's one of the things beating South Carolina. You know, Sarah Robertson got a base hit. It was an inside pitch. She was, you know, late on it. She got jammed, but she got a hit into right by the right field line, and it scored the run we needed. You know, you just have to have those breaks, and you have to have those players that step up. Look at Caitlin McFarland, you know, struggled hitting all year, and yet I call her Miss May. You know, in May, she was just ripping home runs. You just never know who's going to step it up. And when they step it up, you know, it's just contagious, right? It just keeps going, and then the pitchers are more relaxed. They're doing their thing. So, you know, we've learned a lot through the years. This is my 8th season now. I've had Coach, you know, Paige, you know, Cassidy Bird. You know, Paige has been with me. And then we now have Casey, you know, Fagan also was here when we were at the first regionals that we've ever been to, you know, under my, leadership. So I'm excited about that. But we've learned a lot, and we're excited.
Yeah, and you won a tough league this year, the ASUN you mentioned earlier, Kennesaw State making the field. Just speak to the how big that is for the league to get 2 bids in. Plus, you have a team in the field in Eastern Kentucky, I think, that's going to join the league as well. So you could say you have 3 teams in the field there. Just speak to that in the ASUN, and able to win a conference championship really on the road, really, if you think about it, beating the host team. Yeah,
it was big to win the conference, especially a conference that's respected as much as the ASUN. You know, when you look at, you know, rankings, the ASUN has been up there for, high RPI, and almost, I think it's been as high as 4 or 5 out of 32 conferences. So that is going to prepare you. And I think that's why you see Kennesaw State is in it as well. And like you said, Eastern Kentucky winning, I think, the whole Ohio Valley, and they're going to be joining the ASUN along with Central Arkansas and Jacksonville State to bring us to 12, programs in the ASUN. So when you play good competition, it makes you better. That's why we have a strong non-conference, because, you have to be the best, you have to beat the best. So in order to beat the best, you have to play the best. And, and then hopefully each year you get better and better. And this year beating Arkansas was huge, you guys. Co-winners, co-champions for the SEC at the time. They had a 19-game winning streak. They were leading the SEC in home runs. They are second in the nation with home runs at the time, and Kirby was able to keep them with a shutout, and we're able to win in the 10th inning with a 2-run home run by pinch hitter Danae Griffin. You look at just Notre Dame to be able to beat them. That was huge, and when we beat them at our place, they came up really strong towards the end, beating Virginia Tech 4 out of 4 of their games that they had in the series. You look at, just beating Virginia Tech. I mean, come on, Rochard, one of the top pitchers in the game. So I think our hitters they're prepared. And we're facing some of the best pitchers. What do you guys say? It's one of the top, toughest regionals that's out there. I believe it. And so it's going to be fun to watch.
When did you know this team would be as special as it is, doing what they've done this year? Was there a moment during the season? Did you know before the season? Kind of take me through your mindset as this season kind of began and you thought about this team and you're like, wow, this team can really go even maybe higher than you thought.
Well, last year at the beginning of, that COVID year, we were 1-11 to start, but we were playing, and we had Washington on the ropes, right? We had Missouri on the ropes. We had all of them on the ropes. And to myself, I thought, man, if I could have one more season, with my freshmen getting experience and having the Twins back and their leadership, that would be amazing. Of course, I didn't want COVID to happen. But then we started winning, 9, Joe, of the last 11. And we're getting to the point where, okay, here we go. It's just going to start rolling. It's going to roll. And then COVID hit. So the blessing really this year that I knew once when I knew Amber was coming back, and when Autumn had called and asked if she could be, come back, I knew it was going to be a really special year. The question was going to be in the circle, because we have really a lot of inexperience in the circle, if you think about it, right? We got a lot of freshmen, whether it's COVID freshmen, incoming freshmen, and Emily Kirby hadn't pitched a lot, you guys. I think she only had, Joe, 30 innings? 60 innings, very few innings, no big games were given to her. So I think when you saw it all come together, man, it was like in the fall, you just sense this camaraderie, this connection, this belief. And once when the pitchers saw the offensive production, and when did we really know it? You guys, we lost to Oklahoma, 4-5. We lost to LSU 4-5, in the bottom of the 6th inning. I think they scored that, or the bottom of the 7th, but when you saw our hitters hitting home runs off of Fouch and home runs off of these pitchers, Fouts, I think I said her name wrong, but Montana, when we saw the production offensively of not just playing the teams, but scoring and threatening to win, then we knew there was something special. And it's all about talk is cheap. You guys always hate, talking too much up, but I can tell you what, this is a team that's going to be fun to watch. And if they remove all doubt and fear, it's going to be a really, really fun team to watch and coach, of course.